She's not okay. She's scarred for life. She was injured. Leave her alone. How about the new intro music, huh? Kind of a throwback, is it not? Old radio people. Now it's a little, you can tell just a little bit of the difference, right? Just a little bit of the difference. Because you can't use, I didn't know this. Well, I did know this. You can't use the actual Biggie song, but then there's people out there who like re-record it, but like change it up a little bit, and then you can use it. So hey, God bless to those people. All right, Grape Lady brings you in, Biggie brings you in. It's Puck, Jason Puckett here with you. It's another edition of the Daily Puck Drop, the DPD. We roll here for about 30 minutes or so, give you the latest, the greatest in all of sports and entertainment. Of course, you're watching, listening, all the different platforms. Appreciate it as always, wherever you support. Get the question a lot from people that email in, and you can always email on the website or just simply go puck@pucksports.com. Send me a note. I try to reply to, I do reply to everyone. I got a lot of time on my hands. I'm good. I can reply to as many people as I'd like. Okay. I'm a man of the people. That's what I like to go with. Man of the people. And you can, offer any feedback there. I guarantee I'll get a lot of feedback today of people like, hey, why did you upload like 9,000 videos like late last night? Because there was I screwed up something in the videos when trying to download this whole thing to, or trying to connect it to YouTube Music, which I'm going to be honest with you, is a pain in the ass. Hey, YouTube Music, let's make it easier for people to follow the podcast. Let's not make it harder. All right. So I had to re-upload some videos. So if you're getting a bunch of like notifications, if you're following on YouTube of like past videos that are being uploaded, just ignore, listen to them again, comment away and be like, God, that Brad just feels, or John Canzetto, they feel a little behind in their stories. So my apologies if you were getting a bunch of alerts and texts and things of like new videos dropping. But if you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and leave comments below. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you find your podcast, thank you so much for spending your morning, your afternoon, your evening with us. I don't know when people are listening to this. I'd love to hear when you do you listen to this in the morning? Do you listen to this in the afternoon, evening? Offer me any type of feedback. Again, puck@pucksports.com. All right, we got Mariners we'll touch on. Well, I want to briefly bring up our poll question that we had from yesterday there with Bill Krueger. There's some sound from Bill Krueger I want to play. The game last night, just kind of one of those games in which, somebody just shoved the ball down your throat. So we'll get that. The Bet M's under summer continues. Seahawks freeing up some money. With NBA news with Anthony Edwards, who is just ridiculous. It's unbelievable what that guy can do. And then, of course, we end every show on the DPD with Hey, What the Puck. It is Tuesday, May 7th. All right, we appreciate you stopping on by. John Canzano will stop on by today. You are listening to episode 82, which is amazing that we've actually recorded 82 of these damn things. Best 82 in Seahawks history. Daryl Jackson. Oh, Paul Scansey. Paul Scansey? Paul Scansey, if you think Seahawks 82, do we think Paul Scansey or Daryl Jackson? Now, I'm old school, so I think Paul Scansey. But Daryl Jackson was better. Am I missing another 82? Why do I feel like there's another obvious 82 I'm missing? This is a sidebar now that I just thought about this, and this is great because this is basically what I do. I think of something right away, and it comes to my mind. Now I start grinding over it. Me and the Vampire got in this discussion the other day. Who do we consider the second best wide receiver in Seahawks history? Talk amongst yourselves. Who is it? Is it Doug Baldwin? That's the conclusion we came up with. Well, his first reaction was DK. Well, actually, no. He said no on DK. He's not a DK fan. I don't know why he's not a DK fan. He's just not. He doesn't like him. Just says he never can catch the ball. I'm like, I don't know. He seems pretty good to me, but hey, whatever your opinion is, Vampire. Right? Doug Baldwin? Is he the second greatest wide receiver in Seahawks history? He's got to be. I mean, we all think DK will get there, but there is I guess most organizations are probably like this. They got one dude and then it's a drop off. But yeah, it's Steve Largent and kind of everybody else. You know who I thought was going to be great? God, I thought he was going to one, Galloway, I thought Galloway was going to be great before he went weird and they had to trade him. The guy that I thought was just going to be a stud, speaking of Daryl Jackson, was Corn Robinson. God, I thought Corn Robinson was going to be great. He had it all. He was super talented. He was engaging. He was a great personality. And then just, had his demons, like, a lot of people have their demons with alcohol and just never could recover from it. But as we workshop this through, it's pretty obvious at this point it's Doug Baldwin. If you go back and look at the records, he's probably right behind Largent in almost every statistical category for a wide receiver. DK can get there for sure. Speaking of DK, I would say of all the guys that we look into this football season, looking at the Seahawks, who is this most important for, right? We can probably go through and make a case for a lot of guys with a new coaching staff, new offensive system, new defensive system. I mentioned Byron Murphy is no doubt the most important player probably for Mike Macdonald, at least with the draft picks, because he's the first pick, and this is the guy that's supposed to anchor your defense. I mean, that's kind of fairly obvious. Thanks, Tips. I didn't need to listen to this for you to tell me that. Me and Mo down at the bar could have figured that out. But as you think through guys that have a lot to prove coming up this season for Seattle, I mean, Geno Smith's going to have a lot to prove because he's got to prove the organization one more time that he can play quarterback in the league and that you guys don't need to look elsewhere. You don't need to I don't need to be looking over my shoulder for Sam Howell. That I can, in this system with Ryan Grubb, it's a perfect system for me. So he's going to have pressure on him to deliver. But I do think, as you kind of wrap your head around it a little bit and think more about it, that DK Metcalf, where he's been in the last few years of his career, with this new offensive system coming in, and I've mentioned this before, as excited as I am about Mike Macdonald and what Mike Macdonald can bring defensively and trying to get back to the yesteryear of great Seattle defenses. And I'm not just talking about what Pete Carroll did, but, you go back even further into the 90s. I mean, this town with the Seahawks and the Huskies, because of its blue-collar nature, and I know if you're watching or listening right now, this isn't blue-collar town anymore. The underbelly of this city and town and the ethos of it is blue-collar still. And defense is the king of it all and has always been the king of it all when it's come to football, college, and professional in this town. But I'll say it again. I'm more excited about what Ryan Grubb and that offense can do. I think they got a lot of great weapons. Geno Smith is certainly capable. If the offensive line can just, stay healthy and stay consistent, hopefully they're going to be good. I love the running backs and I love all the wide receivers. And I like Noah Fant at tight end. So I'm really bullish on what Grubb can do with this offense. And then how can he just make DK Metcalf better? Like, how do we do that? Now, part of it's got to be on Metcalf himself. He's got to stop the sideline stuff. He's got to stop the temper tantrums and checking out and the personal fouls and all that. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to stop it. It's just kind of feels like it's in his DNA. But this is a massive pivotal year for DK before maybe they make a decision if they give him one more year. Hey, it's not working out. Let's just move on. Move on, whether we just move on from your salary, we trade him or whatever. There's always just kind of been, it feels like this undercurrent of rumors with him of how everyone kind of wants to run him out of town. And I feel that a lot of fans are getting kind of tired of DK Metcalf. Maybe I'm focusing in on the wrong fans. I love DK. I don't want him to go anywhere. I appreciate the passion and fire he plays with. I do think he needs to calm down on the sidelines, but it is also a highly volatile sport with a lot of emotion. And you're asking players to check themselves immediately in the most aggressive sport that we have in the world. So I don't know. It's easy to sit back, as we all do, on our couches and tell them to calm down. But when you're in that moment, in that ring, in that arena, I think it's real, real hard. But for him, I think a disappointing season last year. I think he has to have a bounce back. I think he is, as we look at this roster, I think the guy that needs to probably perform the most and has the most, I would say, pressure on just living up to all the expectations that are placed on him. I would say, DK Metcalf. How about that topic? That was just spurned on by who is the second best wide receiver in Seahawks football history. And I think we all agree, right? We'll all nod together or shake your head. I don't care. Whether you're driving or listening to this, watching it, I don't know. DK Metcalf or Doug Baldwin, because clearly Steve Largent is the greatest. I got a Steve Largent card sent to my buddy by Joe Locust. Hey, shout out Joe Locust down there in Beaverton, Oregon. If you know Joe, tell him hi. Where's my Steve Largent that he sent me? He collects cards. Look at that beauty, huh? Look at that guy. God, what a great wide receiver. Huh? Just the best. Caught everything. Open all the time. Open 24/7 was that Steve Largent. All right, M's poll question. We put it out yesterday. Should Josh Rojas, we'll get to the game in a second, should Josh Rojas stay as the Mariners leadoff hitter when J.P. Crawford comes back? 93% of you said yes. We're all living in the moment. I'm on the fence on this one a little bit, but I'm going to side more with what Bill Krueger told me yesterday on the podcast. And again, it's available. I thought Bill was great yesterday on Monday. If you're a Mariners fan, I would go back and listen to that podcast because he was as critical and as honest as anyone who covers that team can be. And especially for a guy who works for Root Sports, by the way, who is owned by the Mariners. He did not hold back on his opinion of Julio. He did not hold back on, and you're going to hear it here in a second, of roster construction for the Mariners. He did not hold back on George Kirby, and he kind of agrees with me. And I hate calling out guys on injuries. And I don't think the Mariners would get a lot of trouble if they're making up stuff for George Kirby. I know, I agree with Bill. No doubt that we have to take them at their word. I think to a degree on the Kirby stuff with the sore knee. I don't think that's the reason he was pulled from the game. I think he's dealing with a sore knee, but I think he's been dealing with it for a while, and it has not affected his pitching. I think it was a convenient excuse to use to pull him from the game after 88 pitches, because that's how they do it. And that was the frustration from Krueger yesterday. That was the frustration from Krueger on Friday night when he did the postgame show on Root Sports. The thing that Scott Service and this organization needs to desperately get away from is managing the game before the game starts. You can have an idea of how you want the game to play out. I don't care. You listening or watching right now probably are some youth coach someplace, right? You probably have, this is how I want this game. Let's say you're a youth baseball coach. You probably have an idea of how you want the game to go pitching-wise. But you know what? Then the game starts, and you're like, well, little Billy is pitching his ass off. So little Billy's going to stay in for a while instead of pulling him after 1 or 2 innings. The game's got to change and feel. How does a player look? How does he react to the situation he's in? That determination on Friday of pulling Kirby after 88, that was settled 3.5, 4 hours earlier. I believe that. And so does Krueger. And I think there's more people that believe that. I just read Kirby's body language and what he said to the media afterwards. That did not sound like a guy that, A, really dealing with something serious with his knee. 2, like, he didn't look like or sound like he was trying to avoid questions about the knee injury. He was just like, whatever they want to come up with. I don't care. Yeah, my knee's a little sore, but it has nothing to do with me coming out of the game early. His previous 3 starts, he had an ERA of 1. If his knee's been bothering him, he's never shown it. Not one time. Do you think forget what happened last year? I think that was a sign of immaturity and frustration. Does George Kirby come across as a guy that if he has a little knee soreness, wants to be pulled from the game because it hurts a little? He doesn't come across to me that way. He's got a nickname of Furious George. And I now play along for a second. If he did feel a little soreness and came out, then I agree with Bill Krueger. You got a bigger problem on your hands then. Because no one, and it's not, hey, back in my day thing, and I don't think Krueger wasn't playing that game. You don't leave a game because your knee's a little sore. But I don't think that's the case at all with him. I think that they determined that once he got to that an innings limit or whatever it was, or that pitch threshold, pitch count, which was 88, they were done, and they were going to the bullpen because they map it out too much. So Krueger was on fire yesterday on Monday's show. I'd go back and listen to that. If you're a true hardcore Mariners fan, and if you ever think that some of these root people don't give honest opinions, he certainly gave a lot of honest opinions on Monday's show. So go back and listen to it. We also talked about lineup construction. Because it was based off the, do we keep Rojas or should we keep Rojas as the leadoff hitter when J.P. Crawford comes back? Bill Krueger answered that. Oh, he did not. That was an applause. You know what? Bill Krueger was like, I wanted to give Bill the applause there, but then I realized I had the wrong sound bar up. Now, others would edit this out because I'm recording this. I'm not going to edit it out. You are going to hear and watch my F-ups, all right? Live. We're doing it live. All right, Bill Krueger yesterday.
We're going to start talking about lineup construction here. I don't understand it. Why the swaggering guy that hits the ball at the ballpark and is the all-around player hits 2? I don't understand that. I don't understand why he hits 2. Your best hitter should hit 3.
So that was Bill Krueger on yesterday's podcast. Go check it out wherever you find your podcasts. You can watch the video, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever. Pucksports.com, which is getting a little facelift. So go check out pucksports.com. You'll see all of our weekly guests, the sponsors, nice and tidy for you. Videos all there, audio's all there, and more to come there at pucksports.com. I agree with Bill. I don't understand. I've heard the logic. You want your number 2 hole hit. You want the guy hitting whoever your best hitter is, number 2, because over a period of time they're going to get more at bats. All right. I mean, okay. It was done one way for a very, very long time where your best hitter hit 3rd. And it had a lot of success in baseball. I mean, the game's been played almost 200 years. So, I mean, it's kind of been done that way forever. And nowadays, like at every level of baseball for the most part, except for Major League Baseball, your 3-hole hitter is your best hitter. But for because some guy sitting up in a room, as Krueger noted yesterday, with the Klieg light on and smoking cigarettes, is determined, no, he needs to hit 2nd. I would try it out. I think this lineup that I'm going to propose to you, and you're gonna hear it, and you're gonna go, well, some of that's effed up. Yeah, I know, but just give it a taste. Just give it a taste. There, before anyone complains about this lineup, I would just say, why can't we just try it? Just try it. Nothing else is working offensively for him, so let's just give it a shot. I would have JP go back to his leadoff spot because I do agree with Krueger to a point. He shouldn't leave, or he shouldn't lose that job just because he got hurt. And he has a track record of being very successful there. So I would give it back to JP. I would hit Rojas 2nd because this goes along the lines that I want Rojas to play every day. I would hit Rojas 2nd. I'd hit Julio 3rd. Then you want your cleanup hitters should be your best power hitter. Now that should be Garver, but Garver can't hit. So I'm going to put Mitch Haniger as my cleanup hitter. Hitting 5. I mean, you could put Raleigh there too if you want. I'm going to put Raleigh 5. I'm going to put Garver 6. I'm going to put Ty France 7. I'm going to put Polanco 8. And I'm just assuming right now Moore's playing a lot more. I'm going to put Dylan Moore 9. Now, I know a lot of people are going, really, Polanco hitting 8? He's batting 195. But his on-base percentage is high. Those last 3 hitters in the Mariners lineup, now I'm just saying on paper, I think that is a deeper lineup throughout all of it, 1 through 9. France, Polanco, and Moore, if you go and look, are probably three of their best on-base percentage guys. And one thing, at any level of baseball, what kills you? You get to that bottom. I don't care if it's Little League all the way up to MLB. You get to that bottom of the lineup, it's like, oh, it just feels like it's an out, out, out. Well, not necessarily with those three guys, because you got speed with Moore hitting ninth. Polanco, despite the struggles, is getting on base, and so's Ty France. You got to keep Garver at 6 because you just got to feel that power is going to come at some point. I don't know. I kind of like it. I would try that. I would try and just see what it looks like. Just go and flirt with it a little bit. Because I think you get in a situation where you're turning the lineup over where Polanco, because again, on base is good, and Moore can get on base. All of a sudden, there's a 1 out, 2 outs, and they flip the lineup back over. You trust JP, and then Rojas is red hot. I would roll this out there and just see where it goes for a few games. So I would roll out JP hitting leadoff, Rojas second, Julio third, Haniger fourth, Raleigh fifth, Garver sixth, France seventh, Polanco eighth, and then Dylan Moore hitting ninth. Yeah, just try it out. Yesterday, that Simeon Woods Richardson, he shoved it up their ass. Fifth major league start, set a career high in strikeouts with 8, 3-1. Struck out 7 of the first 10 hitters. Just terrible. It's awful. Only allowed the Garver on the hit and then the Raleigh walk. I did really love with this young guy the stirrups. I think everyone should be wearing them. The socks, pulling up the pants. God, it's just a good look. Castillo was good yesterday as well. Perfect game. Bid going into the 5th inning. Broken up there by Kepler and Correa on those pair of doubles. 7th inning was just a disaster after Woods Richardson left. You get Polanco and Haniger. They single. You got runners on the corners. Then Raleigh walks. You got the bases loaded with no outs. You manage 1 run because France strikes out. Garver gets the sac fly, and then Raley strikes out. So, again, bases loaded, no outs, 1 run. That's just not good. The under last night hit again. It was 7.5. It's the 3-1 final. The BetM's under summer extravaganza continues tonight. The record right now, 4-1-1. We are red hot, folks. We're making all of your money. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and start betting away. I don't care how much money you put on it. Join me this summer. Every gamer bet the under. Yeah, you want to score runs, but you want to make money. Let's make some money. All right, today's game is the total at the DraftKings Sportsbook is 8. Emerson Hancock, only 1 bad start. He gets the start tonight against Bailey Ober. So Hancock's only had 1 bad start this year. His last 3 outings, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, and 12 strikeouts. Bailey Ober, who's 6'9", by the way, 3-1 with a 4.55 ERA. And like, oh, okay, well, it's 4.5, not bad. He's had 1 bad start. It was his first start of the season when he gave up 8 earned runs in an inning and a third. Since then, 4 games started in April, a 1.48 ERA, 24 strikeouts and 6 walks. They're not going to score. No one's going to score tonight. Okay, it's going to be another 4-3 final. M's and the under. 5-1-1, guaranteed. New money for the Seahawks. Michael Jackson reworked his contract yesterday. Opens up about $2 million in cap space. They're now, I think, $1.5 million, according to our reports, under the cap. They still have the lowest amount of space in the NFL. It's amazing. I was looking at some of the cap hit numbers. Number 3, the biggest cap hit on the team, Draymond Jones. Oh, Jesus. Hey, Draymond, bud. We're going to need a little bit more out of you next season. $33 million of the cap is taken up by players that they said, hey, we'll see you later. Jamal Adams at 20, Diggs at 10, and Will still the worst contract, maybe. We bitch and moan about Jamal Adams' contract. I'm telling you, the Will Dissly contract is one of the worst contracts in the history of the organization that they handed out to him. They owe him $3 million. If you caught the NBA last night, Anthony Edwards, this is going to be the theme throughout the playoffs. He's just an absolute superstar that some of you casual basketball fans are just taking notice. He's unreal. He's just unbelievable. They just crushed Denver. Did not get the memo. They shouldn't be here. And they did it without Rudy Gobert, their best defensive player, who missed the game of the birth of his child. And they just beat the shit out of him from the get-go. Jamal Murray's injury is not helping. He threw he threw a heating pack on the floor last night. They were down by 30 in this game, in their building, down 2-0. I mean, Denver, I mean, I guess they can come back, but they're not going to come back if Jamal Murray is not healthy, and he doesn't appear to be healthy. Pacers Knicks last night, game one of that one, just feels right, doesn't it? If you grew up watching the NBA in the mid to late 90s, doesn't it just feel right in the early 2000s? Pacers Knicks, great atmosphere last night at the Garden, terrible officiating. At least they owned up to it. They missed what they called was a kicking of the ball on the Pacers late in the game. They reviewed it later, and then they said they screwed up. Good on them of admitting it. They, baseball would just say, "Nah, we're not going to talk about it," and ruling stands, and we've got no further comment. At least the NBA owned up to it. The late illegal pick or illegal screen set, that was just a terrible call as well. As Rick Carlisle said after the game, we're not going to expect to get any calls in there. That's right. Usually you're not going to get anything in there. All right. Finally, we'll wrap up the DPD, the Daily Puck Drop, with Hey, What the Puck. Did you know what happened 35 years ago today, here on Tuesday, May 7th?
Gets the ball from Hugh Evans. He looks. He gives to Jordan. Jordan to the circle, puts the shot in the air. Good! The game's over, and the Bulls have won.
Poor Craig Elo. Of course, the shot by Michael Jordan 35 years ago, where he took the ball on the right side, on the inbounds, side out of bounds, dribbles to his left, free throw line, hangs in the air for, 15 minutes. As Elo flies by, holds, shoots, fires. I mean, he was already, a superstar, a young superstar. But that was the legend, like the real true legend, it felt like, of Michael Jordan, happened that night in Cleveland as they eliminate the Cavaliers there in that playoff series with the shot that was 35 years ago today. Michael Jordan, the shot that put him really on the map in everybody's conscious to watch him. And then, of course, as he should have ended his career, but I look at it that he ended his career that night in Salt Lake City with another shot to win Game 6 and their sixth and final NBA championship 35 years ago today. Hey, shocker coming out of the Tom Brady roast. Giselle not happy. You don't say. I mean, the entire roast was bashing you and your jiu-jitsu lover and your kids. So, yeah, I can see how you'd be upset. It was amazing that the only thing that Brady got mad about, it wasn't the stuff about Giselle or his Bridget Monahan, who's his first, not wife, but girlfriend with his first child. He never had a problem with any of that stuff, but it was the comment about Robert Kraft getting a handy. That's what he went up to Jeffrey Ross and said, "Hey, don't overdo that shit again." All right. That's what he said. That was the only one that looked like it visibly upset him. It just, I don't know. I'll be honest with you, kind of odd. But a shocker. Giselle, sources telling people that she's a little upset. NIL earnings are out. We're going to talk to John Canzano coming up on our Tuesday show. John Canzano joins us here on the podcast. We'll talk to him about this coming up a little bit later. But the NIL money rankings came out. Shedeur Sanders is the highest paid college athlete according to this NIL money tracker. $4.6 million. That's more than rookies in the NFL. It's unbelievable. Travis Hunter, his teammate on a team that won, I can't remember how many games they won last year. Was it 4 or 5 games they won last year? They're terrible. 2.7. Michael Penix, who just got drafted by Atlanta, his rookie deal is going to pay him on average $5.5 million. What a time to be alive. Speaking of that, how about this story? I don't even know the kid's name. Last week, Washington got an offensive lineman from Old Dominion. The powerhouse that is Old Dominion, where you find all of your great offensive linemen. Old Dominion. He committed to the Huskies last week with all of the crap, on Instagram and Twitter. #committed, fully committed, 100, pictures of the uniforms and all that stuff. Not even a week later, the guy does it again with all the same crap, fully committed, and he left, and he went to Tennessee. And with the hashtag, I just went through puberty. How about that? With the hashtag fully vested, going to Memphis. God, what a crap sport this has turned into. Not even a week later, the guy is leaving. And maybe Washington, maybe Jed Fish, they saw him and they got somebody else and they realized, we don't want you. So, hit the portal. That could be the case, but just got to solve it, man. Just ruining this sport. It has been ruined. Just please figure it out. Someone with a brain in college football. Last story here on What the Puck, and this is by far the best one. There's a 32-year-old millionaire who was recently arrested. She's been posing as a 13-year-old girl who also played basketball in high school. Name is Shelby Hewitt. She was known as Ellie Blake. She played a traumatized high school student for over a year while she was a full-time, wait for it, social worker. She went to 3 different high schools in her time. Originally started off as a 16-year-old and was at one high school for 7 months, transferred to a different high school for a couple of more months. And at that point, she decided, I don't like playing a 16-year-old. I'm going to now play a 13-year-old. And keep in mind, she's 32. She was eventually caught when the principal and another teacher noted, she looks older than the other girls. You don't say. Good job on you for picking that out. She's been charged with criminal forgery, identity fraud. She has pleaded not guilty. All right, can't you wait for what her excuse is? Like, what is she gonna, like, what is it? What's her defense gonna be? She has told the press when she was reached, the truth will come out. I cannot wait for more of this story to come out. She was a millionaire because her grandmother and mother both passed away and left her an inheritance, which was $1 million. But it begs the question, if you were a millionaire, you could go back to high school right now. If you're like in your 30s, would you do it? I mean, if I was in my 30s and I could pull it off, I think I would. I would do that. Hey, real quick reminder, Fridays we do voicemails. If you're an old school radio listener of voicemails, please send us voicemails. We play the best ones on Fridays on the Daily Puck Drop, the DPD, hashtag DPD. All you got to do is email them to me, record it on your phone in MP3, and email them over. It's as simple as that. A couple of people still haven't figured that out. It's just really not that hard. Record it on your phone. Get your kids to help you, all right? They know everything. And all you got to do is email it to me, puck@pucksports.com. Again, that's puck@pucksports.com. All right, another edition of the Daily Puck Drop in the books. Coming up later today, podcast John Canzano. That will be released at 1 o'clock today. Go check it out. Go check out that Bill Krueger from Monday. It was great. He was unleashed on how he feels about the roster, the lineup, and about George Kirby. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, we promise to be better.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!